Hi everyone, I'm Bin-Shi from Zoox. So we recently migrated the observability data from the self-management ClickHouse to the ClickHouse BYOC. So I'm going to share our story. Hopefully you will learn something from it, since the principles applies right to migrate the data to ClickHouse Cloud. So first of all, about Zoox. So Zoox's vision is to build a safer, cleaner, more enjoyable future on the road. With a purpose-built autonomous robot taxi, we are live in San Francisco and Las Vegas, and coming soon in Austin and Miami. You can see the nice video here. So I wonder, how many of you are interested to try Zoox? Show your hands. That's quite a few. That's good, because at the last of the presentation, I will show you how do you get to ride Zoox. So today's ride, so the first station is observability at Zoox. I will talk about observability team's mission, the technical architecture, and also some of our challenges. And then we will move on why ClickHouse BYOC solve our problem, and some of the technical highlights about this migration. The last station is how to ride Zoox. So I will share, how to get to ride Zoox, like what I talked about. So observability team, the mission is to power Zoox with observability from software to rider experience. So our goal is to enable visibility across autonomous vehicle software, product, and rider experience through an intuitive, robust observability platform that drives data-driven decisions and operational excellence. However, we only have a very small team, and the data volume is huge and increasing fast. Autonomous driving has a very high bar of the safety. So we run very large simulation jobs, typically in the weekend, which is about 2x or 3x of the normal data volume. The data model we use both of the OpenTelemetry and also the wide events. So OpenTelemetry is like the standard, right? Then it comes to have issues when you have a very high cardinality data. And wide events are a bunch of fields and values. It is perfect, it prefers the short keywords over the long English sentences, which is logs. Wide events can include as much context as you have access to. So you can store full request context, high cardinality, and high dimensional data. So it is intended for dynamic exploration. For example, you start with a broad question and then narrowing down. So here's the kind of our data pipeline for events. So we collect data from SDK and agents, and we also have the softwares running on vehicles, sending us telemetry data as well. And then the data will land in a centralized data pipeline where we'll kind of aggregate the data and also transform the data and then save the data to the ClickHouse data warehouse. And then for the users, we integrate the ClickHouse with Grafana, so users can create a dashboard, they can create alerts, and also the SLOs for their services. And also they can run ad hoc queries in Grafana, and also they can use the superset as well to explore the data. We also have some internal tools that enable the MCP, so the users can use AI to explore data as well. So here's a kind of a short profile of our self-management ClickHouse. We have about 50K per second events. And then we used to have a 48 nodes cluster, which is like use the replicate merge tree, the open source version. And there is 16 shards and 3 replicas. All of these are running in the NVMe storage, which is expensive. And also the total data volume we have is 16 terabytes compressed. The raw data is over 1 terabytes. And we have about 400 billion rows in total in those tables. So the challenge we have, right? So as you can see, this is actually a real picture taken from Las Vegas. As you can see, as you can count, right? How many Zoox vehicles in the picture, right? You can see there are 4 of them. can you imagine that, when you're driving there, in the traffic light, and you can see, the left, right, all the Zoox vehicles, right? That is so cool and scary. Yeah. So as you can see, so now we are kind of expanding the fleet size, dramatically. As you can see, with the increase of the fleet size, we also see the data volume comes up. So one problem we used to have is to scaling our self-management cluster from 4 node to 16 node. We did it so aggressively that ended up in some corrupt status in the data warehouse and lead to some downtime. That is a kind of operational cost. And then on the other hand, for the dollar cost, right? Then as I mentioned, the data used to stay in the NVMe for the open source ClickHouse. So we really hope we can, offload the data to some like object storage, and also the compute. Also, computer resources also, takes money. So to meet the ever increasing data volume, we really a strategic decision is to find a data store system which is highly performant and also low cost. That's when the ClickHouse BYOC comes to the picture. So the reason why we choose the ClickHouse BYOC is one is for the operational excellence. It's very easy to scale, right? You can just log in the web console. It's just by a few clicks. You can scale it up or scale it out pretty easily. And then it will automatically upgrade, so you kind of get the features for free. And then there are some pretty cool features, I want to highlight here. One is the compute-computer separation. As you know, we have the ingest, like the workload, but we also have the query. So we want to escalate those workloads so that one will not interfere another one. Another feature is the scheduled scaling. So for in ClickHouse BYOC, it's not like ClickHouse Cloud that you can automatically scale. So we have to use some tricks. I think. Nicely, there will be some preview feature, private feature that we enabled, so we can just scale the system on a schedule. For instance, like as I mentioned, we have the large simulation jobs running in the weekend, so we just scaled up in advance and scaled up down afterwards. That can also save cost. Another one is for the cost. We actually found out we can reduce the cost while migrating the ClickHouse from the open source to the BYOC. And then, as Zoox actually is an Amazon subsidiary, so we want to continue to use the good discount while we keep our infrastructure in our system. So then for the actual migration, right? Then the goals are one is to minimize the user disruption, because the user observability is important. It has to be online 24/7, and the other one is to zero data loss. How we do it? There are a few steps we take. One is to provision the ClickHouse infrastructure. We actually set up kind of like a private link between our VPC and to the ClickHouse managed VPC. Secondly is to migrate the schemas and settings. And there are some of the independent user case, right? You might already have some settings in your open source cluster, so you want to migrate to the ClickHouse cloud. Usually the default setting is good, but for instance, like the asynchronizing insert, right? We used to have it in open source. We just migrated to the BYOC, but unluckily the new versions ClickHouse they have it enabled by default. And then. To ingest the new data, as I mentioned, to minimize the user interruption, so we have create a new pipeline, ClickHouse writer, which write data to the ClickHouse BYOC. So we actually create a dedicated cluster called ingest cluster, and then this parallel pipeline will ingest the data from a certain cutoff time, let's say T0 time step, right? So all the data after that time will come into the both of the system. And then how about the data before the T0, right? So we have to backfill the data. As you can see here, we have on the left side, we have the self-managed ClickHouse, and the right side is the BYOC. We also create another compute cluster called operations, just for the migration. So in the self-managed ClickHouse, we have over 1,000 tables, And then those small tables are partitioned by months. And then for the large tables, we have over 10 billion rows for a table. Those tables are partitioned by day. So the steps we take is first to use the remote secure table function to move the data to a staging area, like staging tables. So the data will accumulate to the in the staging area. Once it's reached to the partition, let's say months, for the small tables, we then validate the data and then move the data to the final tables using the kind of auto table move partition. Here there are some technical details. One is, first one is the SQL to kind of use the remote secure table function to move data to the staging area. As you can see here, use the endpoint VPCE, which is actually the private endpoint. In this way, the data will not traverse to the internet. Rather, it's like from VPC to VPC. And then after that, we need to validate, right? Not only count the number of rows, but also do a hashing to see that actually, what the data matches. Once that is validated, then the next step is to move the partition, using this SQL. I think the nice thing about the move partition is it kind of it avoids to create another, data duplicates, right? And then it's just it's similar like you create a, hard link in a file, in a file system. So the country can save costs as well. So for the production go live, right? Then, first of all, we think about the questions, like the metrics to watch when we, switch to the ClickHouse BYOC. There are a few metrics we watch. One is ingest throughput. We want to ensure that ingesting, going smoothly. There is no backlog. There is no lagging. And secondly is the query latency. Maybe choose the P99 query latency to see whether there are some degradation there. And then lastly is ClickHouse resource utilization. So how do we know those kind of metrics? Luckily, the ClickHouse has the built-in observability, help us to check those metrics. One way is to use the web console, the ClickHouse Cloud Web Console. It's easily that you can go into the monitoring. There are those dashboards and you can check. The other one is the Prometheus metrics. Actually, there are some endpoints that you can script those metrics, to your own, observability stack. This is actually set up here. As you can see, we set up multiple, data warehouses here for ingestion, for operations, and for query, and all of them share the same storage. Now that we are live, right, we have a solid foundation for the future, where we don't worry about operational burdens and have manageable cost as we scale. What's next? So the future, right? As I mentioned, there are two kind of data model. One is open telemetry, the other one is world event. But I think the line is blurry because ClickHouse have nice new features, like say the better support on the JSON and also the text index on the map data type. So I think the line is blurry. We are kind of ingesting more data, like open telemetry logs, a huge amount of logs, ingest 1 million per second, and also traces and metrics as well in our system. And also, on top of that, we are using the ClickStack as a user interface to enable the users to have a unified way to explore the data. So this afternoon, we will have a breakout session, so stay tuned for that ClickHouse breakout. Lastly, as I promised, right, I'll show you how to write Zoox. So in Las Vegas, right, because it's live, right, you can just download that app. Right, then once next time when you are in the airport, you can just try to hear Zoox. And then for San Francisco, you have to join the wait list because the demand is so huge. So we are kind of, creating the capacity. You need to join the wait list. And there is another way if you really hate the wait list. There is another shortcut, which is to join Zoox. Right? We are hiring, so you can check our website to see whether there are some interest in the open positions. That's all for today. Thank you.